Welcome everyone to a casted game for Age of Empires 4, and today, spawning in the southeast corner of the map, playing in red, we've got Louis MT playing as the Delhi Sultanate. And his opponent in the northwest, playing in blue, we've got Kiljadi playing as the Byzantines. Welcome everyone to Rocky River. Hope you guys are having a great morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Going to be seeing some, well, hopefully aggressive action, because the Byzantines and the Delhi Sultanate, particularly the Delhi Sultanate, of course, play a very heavy feudal age. They've got the... Well, actually, to be fair, quite a bit about berries on this map, I've got to say. You've got two berries at least, relatively close by, and a couple of berry bushes down in the middle. I'll tell you what we've got down in the middle as well. Some shorefish. Not that I suspect... I don't think that's really going to be something that they play towards here, these two civilizations. But certainly going to be interesting. The Byzantines, they've got a couple of options. You can't go for the Grand Winery. Imperial Hippodrome could make an appearance. I think Grand Winery is a landmark for the Byzantines that have proven time and time again it's worth in the mid to late game. Obviously, get the olive oil. It's such a good extra resource for them. It often feels like it's something you have to go with, the Grand Winery, but you never know. The Byzantines might look to try and get the Hippodrome nice and early, get some horsemen out in the field, and challenge the Delhi Sultanate, what's likely to be a heavy feudal age aggression. Plenty of sheep coming for the Delhi as well, which is definitely going to be very useful. Speaking of sheep, Kiljadi just nabbing a couple away. Very aggressive scouting pattern, by the way. He does this quite a lot. We see it time and time again. And, well, the reason why I'm actually kind of excited by this matchup as well is the Byzantines, with a recent buff for the cistern, gets an additional 10% gather rate on the, the villagers, but also, Conscriptio hasn't really changed too much in the most recent patch, but it's really about the 10% gather rate. And if you're thinking about playing an extended feudal age, if you do start to build out the cistern network, you extend the bonus that gives, and it plays really nicely for the Byzantines. The reason why I say that is because, the Delhi, of course, they've got the ability to get the sacred sites in the feudal age, which is a very nice option for them to get plenty of gold trickling on in. But it's a mid-map objective, it's contestable. It's a lot more contestable than, say, the Byzantines' cistern network. And it's something actually to consider about gathering resources in Age of Empires for... There's trade as well for civilizations like the Mongols, typically like to do that. But it's like high risk, high reward, right? So, the sacred sites in a way is a high risk, but it's a pretty good reward. Trade is a high risk, high reward, but it's difficult to defend it in a way. I have to say though, the sacred site bonuses, it's good, but it doesn't really match up with the cistern 10% gather rate. It's a tricky one. It kind of is an interesting one for sure. Either way, the Delhi are going to have to be aggressive. It's going to be the Imperial Hippodrome. Nice. That's going to be cool to watch in the early stages of this match. It's going to be the Tower of Victory for the Delhi Sultanate. Now, we were talking about mid-map objectives and sacred sites. Tower of Victory is such a great landmark for the Delhi. It does give them additional attack speed, but it comes at a cost, which is the ability to get scholars out quickly. Because the mosque that they have at the moment is going to be preoccupied with the tech up and researchers, and that means, can't really make too many scholars early, and that does delay the timing it takes to get out on the mid-map. Having said that, going up against the Imperial Hippodrome, they're not going to cleanly be able to take the sacred sites super fast anyway. And so I think Tower Victory is a bit of a no-brainer in this sort of matchup, especially considering the way it's transpiring with the Imperial Hippodrome coming out for the Byzantines. Now, I would like to say a very big thank you for everyone who's been supporting the channel, whether it be on Twitch or YouTube. You guys are absolute legends. And just to let you guys know, on the YouTube side of things, if you're watching on my main channel, I have started live streaming on my secondary YouTube channel, which is essentially mostly for live streams. I wanted to separate the two because I wanted to make sure that my main Age of Empires 4 channel wasn't kind of messed around with. I'm going to keep the same formula that I have for the last year or so, which is just uploading the highest level casts or the best games that I could find on that channel as VODs and watch it sort of on demand. And whereas live streams, you kind of pick random games here and there, they're not always the best. And so I want it to be a scenario where on the main channel you see a thumbnail, you see a video, it's going to be a high quality game. I can't guarantee that with live streams, and therefore I set up a different channel for those guys who are interested in jumping on those and aren't really too interested in Twitch, because I do stream on both. So that is what we're at with. And yeah, I'll leave a link in the video description where you can find that live stream YouTube channel if you're interested. Either way, here's a horseman riding across the field and going to be getting across the map and seeing what it can do. Could challenge the berries. The gold is pretty vacant now, doesn't really need the gold at this point. Of course, the technology is for the Delhi Sultanate completely free. We'll be adding in a blacksmith for some all important upgrades. Ghazi Raiders are going to be popping out soon. Scholar does garrison inside the stable with efficient production does mean it's going to be increasing the production speed very significantly. And it's going to be able to pump out those Ghazi Raiders. Horseman just being a bit annoying here, trying to stab and poke and prod. Now what's kind of cool with the Imperial Hippodrome does give them access to Expilatores, which is going to give an additional +2 damage against workers, but also 20 gold if they do kill villagers. So that's something that could be pretty powerful for the Byzantines. And killing villagers is great, but when you get some gold for it as well, it's pretty awesome, and you're better equipped at doing it with the +2 damage coming out. And that's a lot of units, by the way. I've opted for Keshiks as the mercenaries, so there's going to be plenty of cavalry. It's going to be suiting their movement style and speed here. Going to be getting across the map quickly, and yeah, this is going to be a nice play for the Byzantines. Obviously very aggressive, going for the Keshiks. Having said that, the Ghazi Raiders are a really strong unit for the Delhi these days. They've got an additional +2 damage against highly armoured units, and so that covers the Keshiks. In particular, it's definitely a nice unit to have in the Delhi army. Alright, Assistant is up to level 2, so it should be an additional 4% for 14% in total for the gathering rates of the villagers. And bear in mind, this is 6 minutes into the game, right? And it's already got that 14% extra bonus. The Delhi haven't been able to venture out on the map just yet, and probably won't be able to for quite some time, because I've got to deal with all these cavalry units. Quite possibly going to have to invest in a barracks, it feels that way at least. Double blacksmith for the upgrades, and there it is. There is the barracks being built. Moving on the west side, and well, I mean, this is great work by Kiljadi, right? It's got a lot of map positioning and pushed the villagers off of berries, which is definitely what you want to do as the Byzantines at this particular matchup. Just try and starve the Delhi Sultanate from food. How's it going, Boss Dog, in the Twitch chat? He mentions, can you help me understand the game? Just got it yesterday. Yeah, I mean, well, there's lots to unpack. It's going to take some time, but yeah, certainly what we'll do in this particular cast. And I have seen people enjoy it before. We talk about more of the basics of the game and some of the strategic points. We'll talk about global things like bigger decision-making processes and what players could consider. In particular, we can see the Palisade walls going up for the Byzantines at the moment, so it's going to have some aggression, but also managing to manage like that eco behind it, keep it safe. Oh, this could be dangerous actually. Oh, this is going to be close. Oh, Kiljadi, he's not going to. He doesn't get the foundation done. Oh no, he doesn't in the end, and that's actually really painful. He's invested a lot of wood into the palisades and he doesn't get it completed, and yeah, Louis Empty is going to keep him open. This is super significant because the idea behind this palisade walls is to allow the Byzantines to have that free-flowing economy and allow the citizens to do its magic. And he's coming to fight with the village, trying to body block and keep the village alive. Spearmen and horsemen pushing that way for now, but the horsemen going to be, well, the Ghazi Raiders going to be camping out there. I think generally Kiljadi will just send the units back and he will deal with it. And so it's not the end of the world. He will get the palisade walls up in the end, but he's lost a couple of villagers, and that's a bit of idle time, and it's done some damage for sure. There's no doubt about that. But yeah, you can see the plan here for Kiljadi is just to put some pressure on the front, make sure he's secure back at home so that he can be more active on the map. It doesn't have to keep army at home, and it allows his cisterns to keep making those villagers work a little bit faster, or at least more efficiently. Now, in this particular fight, it's really about the spearmen. It doesn't seem like it's a lot of there's only one spearman at the end of the day, but it does a lot of damage. It's obviously a very hard counter. Also walling up to the town centre, making sure there's no real manoeuvring out of here. So Louis Empty killed a couple of villagers, but to be fair, he's actually going to lose quite a lot of Ghazi Raiders in the end. He's completely trapped, of course. And so that's a bit of a sticky situation. So Boss Dog in the chat, how new are you to Age of Empires? Do you understand like the resources, like the 4 resources? How new are you really? Because some people have played other Age of Empires titles in the past and can grasp a little bit. Ghazi Raiders, yeah, they're all going to be going now. And what this allows now Kiljadi to do is to put some pressure on the map. The question is whether he transitions to a castle age or not. Does he play a full feudal age? And to be totally honest, I mean, look at the production buildings. From the way it looks like, he's definitely committing to that feudal age. And well, I think it makes a lot of sense, because when you look to play an extended feudal age and you're expecting your opponent to do the same, the civilization that's going to come out on top is a civilization that has the better macro, the better economy behind it. And then you have to factor in, well, which civilization has the better economy bonuses. And the Byzantines, I would argue, had the bonuses here, because ultimately they got the systems, their economy is geared towards that structure, they can expand it, it's done at home, it's nice and well protected unless they're being hit heavily. The Delhi Sultanate, on the other hand, their eco bonuses, okay, they get free technologies, but it's like a one-off thing. and takes care of the one-off cost attribution to the actual tech upgrade. But then after that, it's the sacred sites, which is a lot more contestable. So the Byzantines, could be in a good spot in this match. Okay, so which civilization are you looking to play, Bostock? Is it Byzantines or the Delhi? Or both? Because they're both actually very nice civilizations to play. And I guess it depends on the playstyle too. To be fair, I mean, the Delhi is going to be one of the civilizations that are more aggressive, just overall looking at it as a picture. The Byzantines actually are an interesting one. They can be pretty aggressive themselves, as you can see Kiljadi playing in that manner, and they've got such a good economy behind it, they can get away with it, and do it pretty well actually. I shouldn't say get away with it, they do it pretty well. But also they do have this kind of powerhouse in the Castle Age. They're pretty tanky in terms of the economy scales up and they can achieve a lot. And then in the super late game, if they do go for the Grand Winery landmark instead of the Hippodrome, olive oil definitely plays a role. Pushing villages away from that wood line, and now it's the turn for Kiljadi to dive in the base and cause a bit of idle time. This, I think this is okay. This is a decent fight. He does have the shield wall activated on the Limitane, so they're going to be tanking a lot of the arrow fire. Cavalry have to back away on the west side, but he's getting some good kills here, or about to. Anyway, he's getting mostly military unit kills. He's actually not killed a villager at all at this moment. Unfortunately, he's going to lose Keshik, so he dove in quite heavily, killed a couple of military units, but didn't achieve too much in terms of killing villagers. Doesn't yet have expeditores. Only tried French? Is there a big difference? Absolutely, yeah. So it's kind of interesting to think about in Age of Empires 4. All the civilizations are very, very different. They're asymmetrical, they work very separately from each other. Some have very unique units. And so, yeah, I mean, depends how you feel about it, but generally I recommend players to not master. I mean, it's kind of difficult to say when do you master civilization, but be comfortable with a particular civilization, one at least, and then kind of maybe branch out, but feel confident in playing one civilization because it's hard to switch at times. The civilizations are very different from each other in terms of bonuses, unit types, and the way they play against each other. So it's so one thing to bear in mind as well, the more you play, the more you digest and understand and can figure out the matchups. What's a good civ to start off with? Well, that's an interesting question. It depends on your playstyle. What I'd say, there are a couple of decision factors to consider. In just a second though, because there's a bit of a surround here. There's good body blocking with the Keshiks and the Horsemen. Going to be getting a couple of HP off the Ghazi Raiders. The Ghazi Raiders should be able to get out of there. Limitane are chasing, but aren't really able to take them out particularly quickly, or can't get up to them really. Sacred sites though are starting to be captured by Louis MT, so they are starting to build up on the bonuses that they get the Delhi, and they're going to get a decent amount of gold from this. And he's actually starting to pump out units. We're at the 13-14 minute mark where the Delhi become incredibly dangerous, and it's very much because of the efficient production. Look at this, he's got 3 production buildings garrisoned with scholars, meaning that it gets an additional 100% production speed. So it's equivalent having, well, 4 archery ranges and 2 barracks and a stable. That's a lot of production capability. Spearman just pushing and poking ahead through the palisades for now. Cavalry going to dive on the archers in the stealth forest. Louis MT wasn't paying attention for a split second, and well, Kiljadi is kind of making him pay. He does have a couple of Limitani on that front, and this is not a good fight at all for Louis MT. Not by any means. And he's going to have to back away. Took some losses. As he does back away. One thing to just come back to is the question of where do you start? If you're picking up Age of Empires 4 for the first time, what civilizations would we recommend? Well, I think there are a couple of decision points. One is like what kind of your playstyle is. Is it aggressive? Is it a bit more, well, do you want to play mid-late game, passive sort of thing? And then there's a issue of, yeah, I think that's the main one really. What's your playstyle? What do you enjoy playing? And then the second issue is, well, you probably want to pick a civilization that's relatively easy to grasp, that isn't too complicated with too many like unique mechanics. And so it kind of limits the numbers to perhaps, say, English, French, Holy Roman Empire. I think those are probably the 3 easiest civilizations to learn, and kind of more generic in terms of not kind of crazy mechanics. I think I'd probably go for those 3. I mean, the Delhi can be a decent civilization to play as well, if you want to be super aggressive. So I think if you want to be aggressive, I'd probably recommend the Delhi and the French. If you're going to be a bit more passive, but not too passive, a bit more flexible, maybe the English and HRE. Yeah, I think those are probably my top 4 suggestions, but I'm sure everyone else may have a slightly different take on it. So, Lafayette, oh yeah, I would not recommend Order of the Dragon. In fact, that's probably one of the last civilizations I would recommend because of the fact that they play very differently. The balance of that civilization, very, very different. The units are a lot more expensive. They take more population supply. The villages, the economy is really different. It's very difficult to gauge up fights as well because of the unit types. That's your main now? Okay, Sylvie 3. Okay, fair enough, fair enough. I mean, if you play it a lot, then that's the thing, right? So I'd probably say first thing to think about is what civilization do you enjoy playing the most? That's probably my number 1 decision factor there. And then next, secondary to that, pick the one that's probably the easiest to play. Just if you're new to the game, that is. And behind all this is going to extend the walls to the gold vein on the right side. And it makes sense because we're kind of heading to the situation where Castle Age is kind of on the minds for these two players. Got a lot of palisade walls, although having said that, it's a lot of units of the Byzantines have breached that middle area. And it's always a tricky situation. Going up to the next stage, 2 situations or 2 key issues you need to factor in and consider. If you're taking up to the next stage, that's all very well and good, but you've got to make sure you're safe and secure to do so. That can be either with a standing army or with static defenses, or even both for that matter. And so if any player here is going to be thinking to go to the castle stage, they've got to make sure they've got a comfortable standing army to fight with if they're under pressure, and maybe get those static defenses, which, to be fair, you know, the Delhi have got quite a lot through the middle of the map. As to the Byzantines, they've got a decent amount back at home. Water level is at 3 now, so that's going to be a decent gather rate increase on the villagers. 18% in total. But certainly having 2 sacred sites for Luemti is going to be very valuable. Going to be getting a good trickle of gold, but he might need to start mining some to get to the castle edge a little bit quicker if he's opting to. If he's planning to. And that's a lot of infantry. Now, one thing to consider as well of this particular matchup, or at least the Delhi Sultanate in particular, is, especially because it's gone for Tower Victory, well, I'll hold that thought, because these archers are goners, although the Limitani might actually add in a bit of damage in, but, I mean, okay, he's lost a couple of archers, but overall he's going to push the way of the Ghazi Raiders. But yeah, on that thought about taking up to the next stage, the Delhi Sultanate, or let's talk about it more generally, civilizations when they get to the castle age, it's about timings and what that gives you. For some civilizations, it's all about going to be getting relics. Some civilizations is going to be about upgrading your existing feudal age army, you know, especially when you're getting an extended feudal age presence like we have in this match today. 18 minutes and both players still in the feudal age. Now, this is a lot of feudal age units that you want to upgrade. Same could be said for the Delhi. The little caveat for the Delhi, though, is that to get the upgrades, whilst they're all free, it takes time based on the number of scholars you have. And this is where early decisions can really play an influential role. You've got the Tower of Victory, so these units generally, you know, the infantry units at least attack 20% faster, which is such a great bonus, but overall, generally you expect to have less scholars on the field, unless you build a second mosque or you really prioritize getting the scholars out. Having said that, extended feudal age does mean you've got more time to get more scholars out. So what I'm trying to say here is going for Dome of the Faith sometimes can get you more scholars, reduce the time for the research when you do get to the castle age, and so, you know, the power spike is a little bit more immediate than, say, if you have less scholars. And comparatively, the Byzantines, they don't have to wait for scholars researching, so they just get their queuing up of their upgrades and get them in quite quickly. And we're not going to be seeing that anytime soon, though, because both players are really going for it in the feudal age. Plenty of archers there for the Byzantines, plenty of archers for the Delhi. Bear in mind that the Delhi archers will just straight up be better because of the Tower of Victory. Limitane tanking forward. If he gets shield, yeah, this is the issue though. Shield wall will tank a lot for the Byzantines. You tend not to be able to do this with normal spearmen, but Limitane, they work so well. And behind this, the Byzantines are looking to go to that castle stage with the Golden Horn Tower. Ghazi Raid is going to try and attack some of those villages. Limitane are on top of that though, and it's going to be relatively even trade. Although, having said that, that's a lot of Ghazi Raiders. Luemti going to be in a really good spot, and the Ghazi Raiders will tank a lot and allows the Delhi archers behind to do a lot of damage. And this is a tricky situation for Kiljadi, right? We talked about when you tech up, you've got to make sure you've got standing army or static defenses. He will get there in the end, but not without losses of villagers. He's lost 8 so far, possibly some more will be on the way. And the bigger concern is he doesn't really have much of a standing army now. He's going to be under all sorts of pressure. And don't forget that Delhi have now got 3 sacred sites. There's plenty of gold going to be coming in. They're going to get to the castle age themselves relatively quickly. There it is. Compound of the Defender can be built with 9 villagers. More importantly, he's going to have plenty of units trickling across the map. And the bigger concern for the Byzantines, we talked about how taking up to the next stage for the Delhi, you know, is it going to be a quick uptime for the veterancy on your archers or your Ghazi raiders? Well, at this point, it probably doesn't matter that much, because a lot of his armies has been traded off in a really good way. He's caused a lot of damage with them, and he's lost quite a few numbers, but he hasn't lost it for free. He's done damage, and that's fine, because now he can just commit to making more heavily armored units and, you know, get that more immediate power spike into the car stage. Speaking of which, though, Limitane diving on in, and they are still on the hardened status, and yeah, we want to get some veterancy on those, but they're going to perish before that happens. Does have veteran archers, so like this is going to be a decent-ish trade. I've got to say, still favor Louis MT's position just by sheer numbers and the additional attack speed. Sure, these are veteran archers, but I think the Delhi Sultanate will still be quite happy about taking this fight. I'll tell you what they're not going to be happy about is the cataphract. They're jumping on in, and this is going to be a really nice unit for the Byzantines to push these archers back. Like you can see, you might be wondering, this is just one cataphract, but it is a lot more than that. I mean, the archers, they're going to tickle them, and it's going to retreat behind the palisades and keep them alive. And I think that's kind of important, right? Because the Byzantines are having a bit of a bounce back mechanism now, having gone to the next stage a little bit quicker. You know, he's been able to get the highly armored units. I've got to say one thing though, the Delhi, when they do get to the next stage, one thing they do really well is, of course, they've got scholars on the field. Plenty of them usually, and they can grab those relics. Look how many relics he's got coming in at the moment. 4 in quick succession. Louis MT getting 4 relics out of the 5 in this match. This is absolutely fantastic for him in the longevity of the game, and plenty of gold coming in from the sacred sites. And all of a sudden, the mid-map objectives in a blink of an eye have pretty much been captured by the Delhi. This is something they do really well. And Louis MT is showcasing exactly how well they do it. Great play, and I mean, that's going to put him in a really nice spot. Alright, looks like it's going to be Varangian Guards, adding in more Limitana. A couple of crossbows added into the mix as well for the Byzantines. And they keep in the north. And I love this play because with the compound of the defender, he does have village fortresses coming on in. And that's going to allow the keeps to, well, act like town centres and, you know, make more villages. It's going to take about 4 or 5 minutes, though, to get there. Well, that's okay. He's got a bit of time. As long as he gets the keeps on the sacred site, keeps them protected. And we still already have that sacred site timer ticking. It's under 7 minutes now. The Byzantines... well, that's it, isn't it? They've got to get out on the map in 7 minutes and deactivate one of the sacred sites. Unlikely to get the one in the north, and charging on in with the trample with the cataphract. We're looking to take out some of these lancers. But now fighting underneath the keep, that's going to be less than ideal. Cataphract has to retreat, but the cataphract does have a slower movement speed, so might just be taken down by the lancers. 1.62 tiles per second for regular lancers, 1.5 movement speed for the cataphract, and cataphract going to try and lure these lancers into some of the crossbows. And even a Varangian Guard. Gonna try and take 1 relic with a monk, but that's probably the best he can do. Maybe get it Wallow. Gonna have to try it. Wallow. Kiljari. Okay, maybe not. It loses the monk in the end, and trying to break through down in the middle portion as well. Another keep for the Delhi. And now it's looking pretty tough for Kiljari to break on out to decap a sacred site. Possibly has to go for the one in the south, but the army's in position for the Delhi Sultanate, and well, Louis is looking really strong. 4 relics, 3 sacred sites. He's going to have gold coming out of his ears. You can see it. 1,500 gold per minute. He probably doesn't actually need to be mining gold at this point. And that's a lot of population efficiency. He can just get the villagers on other resources. Primarily food, I would have thought. But yeah, this is great play. He's got the production already banked up, and some production buildings ready to go and produce units. So I've got to say, in this position, I do favour the Delhi. Bear in mind that keeps they're going to be acting like a new town centre in just 2 minutes 15 seconds. So the Byzantines, they're going to have their work cut out for them. Does have olive oil coming on in as a secondary resource. Be able to get some mercenaries. But with only 1 town centre, I mean, he's already down on villages, right? 11 villages have been killed by the Delhi. And, well, quite likely some more now. Make that 13 in total. Trying to make a move down the middle. Another keep in the middle. He's really focusing on the keeps here, isn't he? Understandably so, though. Louis MT going to get a lot of control on the map, and they take some time to break through. Now, he might actually be decapping a sacred site here, although there's a lot of army. Having said that, Varangian Guards, this is a tricky situation. Kiljari is focusing on some of the villages, which is fine for now. But as the fight ensues, like, he kind of has to deal with the Delhi army. And he's doing just that. Takes out the meat shield on the front lines. Man at arms all going down. The Varangian Guards should push these archers back. In the meantime, though, the villagers will get the keep up, and that's the big thing for the Delhi. He's bought himself enough time to get the keep up, and now, ultimately, I mean, the Byzantines should decap the 6. No, it's only a little cup. It's only about 5 seconds. He didn't want to commit, but there's barely any left on that sacred site, and he decided against it. Kiljari, he's going to find another way to decap the sacred sites and reset that timer. It wasn't a lot left on it, but he felt the losses would have been too many, too grave. Decided to head back. I gotta say, with the number of keeps that Louis Empty has, and with village fortresses just about to come on in 13 seconds, that villager count is going to really start to skyrocket. As well, that's presuming he's actually going to start producing villages from all the keeps. It's not guaranteed because he doesn't have the greatest food economy. There's another one! Holy smoke. How many keeps has he got so far? 2? There's 3. There's at least another one. 4. It's got 4 keeps so far. And the town centre. Effectively 5 town centre play just coming on in now. That's pretty crazy. And this is definitely a really good way to play the another one? Okay, I'm starting to lose count. Was that the one that counted already? There's 2, there's 4, and there's 5. There's the 5th one there. Okay, Stone Warning. Yeah, he's really going for the sacred site timer. 3 seconds. Oh, 3 seconds? Maybe not that less, but it's not that low, the timer. 3 minutes left. Kiljari somehow has to deactivate sacred site. I think it comes down to not deactivating this one in the middle. He had an opportunity. It feels like maybe he should have just, committed with that. Feels like he probably would have got it. But shoulda, woulda, coulda. We've got, the vision from above without all the stress, so it's easy for us to say. 3 minutes on the clock remaining. A bit of a distraction raiding force in the north. Doesn't achieve all that much. Although, to be fair, it did kill a villager. Gonna get an outpost with Mangonel placements. This is so devastating, right? Because I was going to Mangonel placements. I'm sorry, I was thinking the other way around. The Byzantines are the ones that get Mangonel placements. But yeah, I mean, the Delhi putting some pressure on the gold, and that's actually a problem because that only leaves 1 gold vein. That's easy to take for the Byzantines. 2 minutes 30 seconds. He's going to have to make his way through some point, and going to need to get some Chirosyphons to try and burn the keep down. But it'll take some time if he's only going to be making 2, but the clock is against him here, Kiljari. Got to do something fast. I do like the addition of the man-at-arms, or the Varangian Guards, I should say. They're slightly different from the man-at-arms from the Delhi. The Delhi have got 155 HP on their man-at-arms, 14 melee damage, and, 6 melee armor. Whereas if you look at the Varangian Guards, they've got 5 melee armor, but look at that, 195 health, and but only 11 melee damage from them. Overall, I think the Varangian Guards just about edge it because of the greater HP. It really makes a big difference. And as long as you get some blacksmith upgrades, the differential in terms of armor makes a little bit less of a difference. Is that oh my god, okay, well, 4 keeps in 1 spot. Louis really does not want to give up the position. This is going to be hard to decap. He's picking the hardest one out of all of them to try and decap. And yeah, these villagers, he can't gather gold freely. That's a problem. Kiljari though, he knows no fear. He's going to break on through, and yeah, look at that. Still another bunch of stone. Could afford another keep relatively soon. 3 Chirosyphons. He's going to tank and maybe use some of the Varangian Guards, but the problem is he's got boiling oil, and with 4 keeps with boiling oil, that's going to be hard to do. Now it looks like he should be able to decap this and then back away. I don't think he can really commit to this. There's just too many keeps. There's too many units. There's even mangonels behind this. Now he would decap the sacred site. Kiljari has done that, and that's what he needed to do. Now he probably has to back away. Or maybe not. He's going to commit. Okay, it's risky business. He's going to keep the archers alive. Going to lose the Chirosyphon. The Chirosyphon is still firing away. But yeah, certainly. Going back to the safety of his own keep and possibly some trebuchets. Both players in the castle age, of course, so no access to bombards just yet. They would need the Imperial Age for that, of course, and plenty of villages on berries. We talked about this in the early stage of the game, how this map is actually quite nice for berries, and Louis MT making the most of it. Now, one thing to consider in terms of food economy, the Delhi have not started their farming transition, so they will need a farming transition in the next sort of probably 10 minutes. Definitely within that time range, I would have thought. The Byzantines, on the other hand, they have got their farming economy, or just say olive grove economy, up and running already. So getting both olive oil for mercenaries, but also that longevity in terms of food. They're not going to have a hard switch in the next 10 minutes, which the Delhi will. So that could be a window of opportunity for Kuljadi to do some damage. But what I have to say, economy-wise, I mean, UMT's, the Delhi is just skyrocketing, right? It's 200 population, fully population capped, and so doesn't need to rely on anything in terms of production just yet. All the resources that Delhi get from here going to go straight into the bank, more or less, apart from the upgrades. Possibly think about Imperial Age. The Byzantines, though, they are way off of that. Doesn't have the strength of the economy. 153 population. It's going to take him some time to max out, and yeah, this is looking dicey for the Byzantines, I've got to say. UMT's played this one really well, and it's probably going to take a big mistake for him to lose this one. But things like that can happen. Could take a mistake from Louis' part, could just take a clutch play from the Byzantines and Kiljari. We'll have to see what transpires in the next 10-15 minutes. See, even more olive groves now. Let's take a look at the water level. Still only water level 3, which is a bit of a disappointment, right? Because he's not been under too much pressure, and he can actually afford more cisterns. And, you know, why not increase it? It's a big part of the Byzantine economy that is kind of giving up on. It's got the outpost all solidified, but it's going to be burnt down. Behind all of this, Palace of the Sultan coming out for the Delhi. A very nice landmark, going to give access to automatically produces the Sultan's elite tower elephants. And also garrison up to 4 scholars in the landmark to increase the production speed. So going to get some free units over time. And well, you can never really hate free units, can you? Well, Kuljadi is grouping up together. The big problem, though, is he's going to be up against an Imperial Age Delhi Sultanate. And, yeah, sure, it takes time for the upgrades to come on in, but I think by now it's probably got a decent number of scholars in mosques. It's got 5, or maybe not, actually. 1 mosque full of scholars, but when you're talking about Imperial Age upgrades, it takes a bit of time. Look at this, tithe barns. To be fair, not that long. Yeah, 2 minutes is not a long time. 2 to 3 minutes should be fine, actually, for the Delhi to really pack a punch. Keeping an eye on the west side of things, just making sure trade isn't a thing for the Byzantines. Wants to make sure he gets access to the gold as well. And oh god, Kiljadi sending the villagers at the wrong time. Louis MT has that presence of mind, by the way. Recognizing that gold is going to be an issue, and he's going to keep an eye on the gold. And that's definitely what we want to do as the Delhi Sultanate in this situation. Just keep control of the map, keep control of the key resources. And of course, one of those key resources will be gold. Got the 8,000 gold vein here, covered by a keep. One in the south, well in the realms of Louis MT's side of the base, or map I should say, so yeah, it's definitely going to be keeping that safe and secure. Moving on the west side, Louis MT, just careful not to get trapped. Kiljadi just wants to get rid of that. But ultimately, it's a bad situation for Kiljadi, right, because he's having to chase the army from the Delhi. Meanwhile, the Delhi are getting all the upgrades, so Delhi just have to buy some time for these Imperial Age upgrades to come on in, and it's going to be looking good. It's going to be the Palatine School for the Byzantines behind all of this, and well, he's going to get there, but he's been delayed compared to the Delhi quite significantly. The biggest concern is that I think they just used forced march, didn't they? Yep. Makes the move incredibly fast and causing all sorts of trouble. He's losing villagers, more of them. Oh, this is not looking great. He's lost 28 so far, 29. That number might just start to escalate. I mean, Louis MT will get caught out. He will lose the army before they get upgraded to Imperial Age units. And I think it's okay. I mean, ultimately, Louis MT, look at the bank of resources he's got. Almost 2k food. And 1,700 wood almost. And so he can spend this. He can replace his army very quickly. Cannot say the same for the Byzantines, though. If Kiljadi loses the army... Well, he won't lose the army. But if he does lose his army in the next 10 minutes or so, it'll be very difficult for him to replace him. Especially because he has to pay for all his upgrades. So whilst it takes a bit of time for the Delhi to get their upgrades in, they were free. That means you can concentrate on things like getting another keep. We have to keep count, actually. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I believe there's one here as well, right? I think that's 8 in total. 5 in the middle. 6. And then 2 up north, 7, 8, yep. 8 keeps in total. Well, that's one way to secure the map, I guess. Now, curious to see, he hasn't actually got the sacred site. As I say that in the middle, he just sends a scholar there, but he can't actually get it because of the keep location. So yeah, the Delhi have to deal with that and address it before they can look to get a sacred site victory. But we are starting to head to the late stages of the game where the Byzantines actually do start to pack a punch, although they went for the Palatine score, so no hui pals, no Nesta Bs, I'm afraid, here for the Byzantines. It's unfortunate, but we've got other games where we've casted that, so those are cool units that the Byzantines unfortunately will not be able to make now. But I think possibly we're feeling maybe a farming transition from the Delhi. Let's just keep an eye on what's going on for the Delhi economy. Yeah, there it is, yeah. There's the farming economy, set up now and good to go. Could wood become an issue? Like, this wood line's completely gone. This wood line is, it's a decent amount of wood left, but I give it another 15-20 minutes and that'll be gone. Question is whether the game will last that long. Who knows? Now, we talk about the Byzantines and how good they are in the late game, especially with olive oil, but it becomes less relevant when you're going for the Palatine score, because of course you can't really make siege with them. You just have to rely on your unit mercenaries, regular units. I have to comment on one thing. The Delhi Sultanate, we talked about how they're a very aggressive civilization, but they have this weird thing in the super late Imperial Age where they have a really population efficient army with the elephants, and that's exactly what's happening. Louis MT charging on through with these beautiful elephants. I think we can already tell what the thumbnail is going to be on YouTube. Alright, the elephant's going to be taking down this keep pretty quickly. Going to get a decent amount of siege damage out of these guys. He's being a bit aggressive in the north as well. Gets to keep another one. That's a 9th keep in a really forward position, and that is bonkers. It's got boiling oil. Possibly, yeah, he's going to get a cannon emplacement now. If the Byzantines don't take care of this, it's actually going to be a problem. Yeah, he's focusing on the gold. You can see the clear focus for Louis MT. 36 minutes into the game, 37 minutes almost. That he's saying, hey, look, the Byzantines, you guys, you want gold, don't you? And I'm going to try and stop it as best as I can. Going to lose a lot of units here, the Byzantines, but it does have a Cairo Siphon working at it, chipping away, burning it down. Oh no, it's the old Tower Elephant Scholars play here for Louis MT. That's going to be an army that's going to be very difficult to stop. The outposts up and all these villages are going to perish very quickly. Kiljadi, he's dropping numbers. The keep in the north is being repaired as we speak, getting good damage again on villagers. And meanwhile, Louis MT's got all 3 sacred sites. The timer has been activated. 10 minutes on the clock till he gets that victory. He might get the victory a little bit earlier, considering the way things are going. Tower Elephants moving further forward, being healed on up, and that's going to be a lot of siege damage coming out of that. Water level 4 is in play, so the production speed conscript here will be helpful, but he's got to pump out units somehow. Kiljadi, he's got full population capacity almost, actually. The question is, will he be able to survive the oncoming push, especially without gold? Look at the gold comparisons, right? 3,000 gold in the bank for Louis MT and 300 gold for Kiljadi. Making a move down the middle. Yeah, this is looking a little bit tough now. Kiljadi, can he find a resistance to this? Now, apparently he does have 66 military. There it is. Gonna be tricky though. He's got an elephant of his own, so elephant versus elephant. Got a couple of springles, a decent number of springles actually, but barely makes it too much of a dent on the Tower Elephant. That's not looking good for him. Gonna charge on in. Varingagars tanking that front line, trying to allow the Mangonel, or one Mangonel, to do as much damage as possible. Elephants, where are they? Exactly, they're hiding. They don't want to fight for the Byzantines. Well, they're the elephants for the Delhi though. They're definitely here. Gets a regular war elephant. Ah, this is so tough, right? Because the scholar's just healing up the Tower Elephants that are being attacked. And Kiljadi, I don't think he has an answer for this. The superior economy for Louis MT really starting to come to the fore. Now, these units aren't cheap. These Tower Elephants, and he's making it work pretty heavily. Pretty well. I mean, to be fair, he gets a couple for free because of the landmark he went to the Imperial Age with, but the rest of them have been made. And there it is then, gentlemen. Kiljadi cannot stop this horde of the elephants coming in from the Delhi. We love to see the Delhi elephants, and that's what wins the game here in the end for Louis MT. Hope you guys enjoyed this on YouTube. If you did, make sure you give the video a thumbs up. Take care, and see you next time.